Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the trip. This is DWTT, as my friends call me, Gary. Got Lonzo in the house. Lonzo, how are you doing?
Hey Gary, how you doing, pal? Yeah, I'm all right. Just hanging out on this very nice podcast of yours, and talk about Arsenal and other things as well. So good to be here with you.
Cool, 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 cool. So, our first attendee tonight is Miss Molina. Welcome to the show, Miss Molina. All right, so let's get into it. I'm not sure Mr. Tom will join us tonight. He had a long weekend, and when that happens, he needs to take a break. So, but we'll get into it. Arsenal, uh, good weekend, very good weekend. Good day today. Actually, a good weekend all around. Calafiori wasn't just a dream; it's now a reality. So we'll get into that. Plus, we'll talk about the game. Stephen joins us. Welcome to the show, Stephen. Got back home from the Jasper fires. Thank you for what you do. I believe you drive the big automobiles, right? But it's thank you for that. Yes, yes. All right, so we'll get into it. So Arsenal played the big mighty Manchester United on Saturday. Actually, let's see. Did I get to? I actually watched the second half live, and then I went back, and then I watched the first half. So that was kind of a different way. Actually, and that was because I went to see him. Went to see Deadpool and Wolverine. And no spoiler alerts, but we're not going to tell you. Let people go and see it. It's still, still just opened up. Yeah, I guess it's the end of summer, right? So the fires are these fires just? I want to say, are they natural occurring fires? I don't know, lightning strikes and stuff, or is it mistakes by humans? Hopefully it's more nature and not mistakes. But yeah, so Arsenal against Manchester United last year, I got to go to a game. I watched Manchester United basically take out whoever they wanted, put whoever they wanted out on the pitch, and played a really good game and beat us. This time around, I think we came a little bit better. Well, what I found was interesting is that their takes on how that first half went and how things would have been different. But we'll get into that as well. So, Lonzo, tell me, you watched the whole game?
I did actually. I watched what I could because Tom and Tony were doing our podcast right as the game was going on. So I missed maybe 10 minutes of the game, or I was looking at the wrestling as I was watching the game on my phone. So I didn't hear it, but as I was paying attention to it when I could, um, yeah, it seems like Arteta and the bunch went with the younger side, as they did against Bournemouth there. Um, though I was on the fan circle on Sunday, yesterday afternoon, and it seems like Lawrence was telling us that the Bournemouth Arsenal game was more meant to be a closed door event, but at last minute, I guess they chose to have the Bournemouth Arsenal game to the people, and it was, I believe, in um, a smaller arena, not as big as SoFi. So I think they were trying to get a bigger audience because Bournemouth are a smaller club, but I think that's what the case was. Anyway, so yeah, I saw the first half and second half, Gary, and it seems like Arteta brought in some youngsters as well to start that game. I think Heavens, I think his name is a center back, and also Lewis Scully played left back, I believe, and then he brought in Nunari again to start alongside Udegaard. They played well, in my opinion, though. If you want to discuss the game, Gary, but it seemed like Heavens at the goal in very easily and was letting in an easy goal from what I saw. So, but he seemed to carry on very well as the game went on, and of course he got subbed out in the second half. But I was very impressed by how he played and how he didn't let that goal bother him so much. So, but yeah, it was a good game. I thought that they were up for it. again, they came back and won. But we'll talk about it more, I guess.
Cool. Cool. Steven giving us a little update on 30% of the town burned. Oh yeah. Well, good thing the weather
So,
changed. The weather created it and it stalled it. So lightning. Yeah. Lightning and dry land. Not good. Not good. I believe that's how it works. But glad you were able to contain it. Yeah. No, what I found weird is they were talking about how they brought in a lot of their young talent, and the reason why they scored was against our young talent, right?
mm-hmm.
I mean, uh, Ahmad Diallo actually played last year. I remember seeing him play. So I don't know that front line. All of them had played last year. Erasmus keying off of heaven for that goal. I don't know how that is not looked at as, you know what? That's our youngsters going against your striker. Yeah. And he
Mm-hmm.
basically took him to school a little bit there, got the best of him. Um, so yeah. And I guess it's not their back line, but I guess it would be their back line, right? Because Harry Maguire and Lenny I think are their center back
Yeah.
forward. So, but yeah, no, I thought they got the better of us with the youngsters, and I can't remember if Kyle Hine could have made a stop on it or not, but you know they had their starting goalkeeper, and we did not, and I believe they had what will be their starting center back pairing, maybe, or at least Harry Maguire isn't a step down for them, anyways.
Yeah, Lawrence said that when we were talking to him yesterday. Lawrence was also at that game, and he said that that goal should have been stopped had it not been for Hines' positioning, I guess. But again, like you said, Gary, it's their youngsters versus their starting strikers. So one way they're going to get punished, I guess, unfortunately. But like I said, I think Havens kind of came into it, came into his own there. I think having a center back like Megalesh at the second half really helped develop him a little bit. And I think Timber as well helped him get into the game as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I haven't didn't actually get to play with Margules, so
Second half, right? Or was it just
no,
Timber? Okay.
Heaven came out at halftime. Curio came in,
Sorry.
so yeah, he didn't get to play with the big boys. But he actually played pretty well in the first game against Bournemouth, which I think was a little bit more tougher because they were basically they were definitely leaning on us. This game was a little bit not as uh, contact. It was not as much contact in this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, they both did well. Whether or not he's gonna stay and get some more playing time, I'm not sure. But the other player that did well, academy player Ethan Wineri, he looked really good for me. He looked really good for me. Um, so yeah, that's let me see. I'm just going through Steven's comments here. Oh man, yeah, because of the smoke, huh? That's crazy. Gotta let it air out. All right, we'll get to Nick. Welcome to the show. We'll get to this comment in a little bit. Might be a good question to ask, but we'll hold on to that one. We'll finish off with the game. I don't know where Lonzo went, but oh, he's I'll keep chatting here. He's busy doing things. All right, so yeah, the game. Yep. So Nweri for me has been really good in the last two games. Looked really good. Looked really comfortable there. He's really good ball at his feet. Um, not much more I can say. I just want to. He needs to just get more games, and hopefully he will. And hopefully Arteta will do what he hasn't been able to do for some of these academy players: is give them some time on the pitch. He looks like he's ready to go. Will he start for us a lot of games? Probably not, but will he get? Hopefully, he gets the minutes. And once in a while, he'll maybe step down to the U was it U21s or whatever, just get some, keep his legs fresh. keep his mind right. Yes. So no, he's looked really good for me. Um, Last season, this same time, he looked really good for me, and he looks the same too. He either needs to go out on loan to get more playing time, or if he's going to stay with Arsenal, they need to just give him some time. We're going to need it, and hopefully, if he's sitting there behind Erdogan and Vieira, because I don't know if he'll be that left eight for us or not, right? When we get in, I guess that would be Rice. But if you think about it, for me, Rice isn't as much as for me an attacking-minded player as in where he is. So we'll talk about and where Ethan's assist that he got as well. So yeah, talk to me about the academy player.
Yeah, so in Iwari, right? So I remember 2 years, like a year ago, we were talking about Iwari and how he could fit in for a little bit, right? And how much of a presence he could bring, and how Arteta values him, and he's talked very highly of him. And he looks like he's been playing with a chip on his shoulder, trying to make this team. And you know, I just hope that he's ready for it. And he's like one of some of the products that we have become or have come through from an academy, like a Fabregas, like Jack Wilshere, like Middlesbrough kind of player where he'll come on the team and fit right in. And my only hope is that if he does get sent down to U21s, that he doesn't get discouraged. Because the talent is there, Gary, and my hope is that he'll get some cup games, like League Cup games, and play a little bit here and there with Champions League football. Because he needs to be ready to play if Arteta's going to pick him and have the players around him to make it work. And I think having a guy like Odegaard who's been on loan for some the early part of his career, he could use Odegaard as inspiration, and so that he could maybe look at Odegaard as a role model, and look at him as, well, if he could do it, so can I, kind of thing, where the potential at Odegaard at Real Madrid was so high that he had to go on loan to play some. So, like you said, Gary, he may have to go on loan for him to get that experience, so he can play first team football if and so he does come back from loan, if that's the case. But yeah, the talent to me is there. He played well in the first game against Bournemouth. He played well against Manchester United, assisting Gabriel Jesus. So yeah, I'm very high on him as well.
Yep. Really good young player. I am happy to see him out there. For me, I expect him to be able to play Arteta's football, or else what's the academy doing? So that's why I always wondered why they weren't getting a chance to play, because they've been in the system and they're supposed to be supposedly learning what is necessary to join the first team. So it shouldn't be anything different. And it looked like that this time around. I think in past years it always looked like they didn't look like they knew what was needed of what was required of them. Now it looked like they fit in fine. Yes, they're not at first team level yet, but they know where to be and stuff like that. And you see it in certain situations. So, like I think in Wary and Skelly, we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see a lot more of them as the season goes on. Evan was it was a good test for Heaven, but yeah, he might need more time. And you know what? We've got more than enough defenders. And yeah, we'll get into. Oh, you know what? Why not? We'll just go there. Steven brings up a good point here. Didn't see the match, but apparently both Jesus and Martinelli look sharp. Go with Jesus to start, and yes, Jesus looked better than he did in the first game. But for me, once again, he had one of those opportunities where he did all the difficult parts, got himself in a good position to shoot, and decided not to. And it's like, just take the shot. He didn't want to put a shot on. He didn't want to take the shot on his left foot. I think this was in the second half is when I saw it because I believe it was in the second half. But he did all the hard work getting himself in a position to where he should be able to score, and then decided he wanted to put the ball on his right foot, and instead of just taking it with the left, I believe, at least he would have called the defense and the goalkeeper off guard, and got nothing came out of it. That's the problem. Is like you sit on the ball, you don't do anything, and no shot happens. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Uh, he did score, yes, but I really wanted to see him um, take some of those opportunities that he had and finish them. So hopefully Arteta is screaming at him for that. I don't know if you remember that move,
I did,
Lonzo.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And, Gary, the issue is that we sit too much at Arsenal because we know the talent level he has. And the reason I got him in the first place to help us score goals. And I was telling this on Ray's podcast yesterday that, once he's in that area where he can score, he's automatically going ground. And as frustrating as that is, there's always hope with a Jesus, right? And the minute you count him out, he scores a big goal for us and or assists. And I think that's a big part of the game that's very underrated is that he'll give people goals by giving him assists. And that's one thing I always appreciate about Jesus is that whenever he gets the ball, he could be clutch as well. And I think we need more of that if he's going to be on the team because, again, he's always hurt. And whenever we're in these title races, is that, we struggle with Jesus a lot because, whenever he scores, he can be give or take, right? But when he's hurt, he takes a long time to get back to his old self. And he doesn't really have to score goals. He just has to be a playmaker. And I think that's what we lack out of him is that his ability to stay healthy, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna. Me and you're just gonna have to fight back and forth. Now he needs to shoot, and he needs to shoot. He needs to score, and he needs to distribute. He needs to do all those things, or else what's the point? For me, everything he needs to do all that stuff. He needs to score for sure. But he needs to take it. He needs to take the damn shot. We got
Do you think
Big Gunner joining us is right now. Big Gunner, welcome to the show.
do you
Yeah.
think he dribbles too much, Gary, inside the box and not taking enough chances?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
And he stays too long on the ball. I mean, instead of just taking it one time, they'll sit on the ball waiting for something to happen. Like no. You got when you're in the box, first thought should be we need to score. Second thought is going to be like, well, maybe I don't got it, but somebody else does. Big Gunner is done with vacationing. He's heading home. Who
Gary,
who the
does,
vacation being over?
does it remind you, right, when back a while back when we had Alexis Sanchez, right? And there was always an argument on who would want to play the lead striker position. Do you think that Arsenal and Jesus struggle with that because some people still see him as a winger, or do you think that he's an in and out striker regardless of what people think?
Arteta asked you to do more than one thing. So no, Arteta asked everybody to be able to do a lot of like only few players play just one position, and it's not because they can't. It's because they are the best at their roles, right? I mean, you're always going to see, Rice will play multiple positions, right? Erdiger plays just one position. Saka plays just one position, right? Martinelli plays just one position. Ben White one position, but they're really good at those positions. So you have to be versatile in Arteta's team. So they need to be able to, like, he needs to be able to move around and do everything. And we've seen it before. We've seen him play where he'll switch with Martinelli and go on the outside, and Martinelli come inside. So, yeah, nah, I think it's just part of the way that we've played and then we should continue to play. Yeah, Steven, it's definitely bizarre that our front players seem reluctant to take shots when given chances. I don't know, like you know what? And for me, that's where the coaching comes in. When you get into the box, the only thing is to score a goal. It's like a defender. The ball comes into the box. What's the only thing you need to do is get that ball, clear it, right? So you're going to clear it as a defender, as an attacker. That ball needs to be going towards the goal. Typically away from the goalkeeper, right? So for me, it's simple. The simple ways to coach this game, I say, when you're in the box as a defender, you get it out. When you're in the box with the ball and you're an attacker, you got to get it at the goal. You got to shoot at the goal. It's the only way you're going to score. So, and if you wait, then you just let the defense catch up. So, I think those are the simple rules of football for me, at least in the box. What's that, Lonzo?
Oh, so I would just comment on Steven's comment where he says Sanchez would have loved to playing with this team. He was always trying to get the other players to press high with him. I agree, Gary. I think Sanchez was levels above everyone else as far as working extra hard to get that team playing really well, and he did for a couple of years. And it's unfortunate that he left how he did because he regretted going to Manchester United. Um, but he would have also played multiple positions on this current Arsenal team because he was so quick and he was so clinical. So yeah, I just wanted to say that comment was really cool.
Cool. Oh yeah, that Miss Molina. Steve was asking you about the women's team, Canadian women's team. Well, I was thinking about that. Your coach sounds like there's a problem with the Canadian teams. I believe the men also were known to use drones. I know the players may not even be aware of it, but players have benefited from it as far as where the coaching and the setup and all of that comes into play. But as we've seen, like they continue to win, so they got to win. I think they got to win one more, and then we'll see if they make it into the next round. But imagine getting deducted 6 points and still having a chance to make it into the next round. They have that. So we'll see how that all plays out. I know the players don't want to get punished. I don't know how Canada does not get punished. My only problem, I was telling my wife this, is if the men are doing it, how comes the men didn't get caught? How comes the men weren't punished? I find it weird that all of a sudden it's a problem. All right, I find it interesting, right? That's a problem now. So I don't know, double standard. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see how the women do. Yeah, see if they can get that last one to get through. And that's right, the U20s and stuff is going on. I think the U19s finished off in. That's right. I think Spain won that, so now Spain is like the holders of, if I recall, like 6 trophies in world football. So Spain is doing pretty well there. Yeah. Yep. As I've moved away, let's answer this question before we lose it here. And this is everybody can answer this one. Nick's asking the question off topic: would you rather play under Ancelotti, Klopp, Pep, Alonso, or Flick? World class managers, some young up and coming managers. I guess the thing is, if you're playing, for me anyways, you're coaching under Pep and Ancelotti, you're playing with some of the best players in the world. Klopp showing that he doesn't need all of them to be like that. And Alonso and Flick, for me, still figuring these things out. Kind of felt like I'd rather play for Ancelotti. Yeah, at least the way things are at Real Madrid. I don't think Everton got that experience, but that might be more on Everton than it is on anything else.
I wouldn't mind playing for Xabi Alonso. I think, him going undefeated in Bundesliga, and granted it's Bundesliga, but really the early success he has had, Gary, is uncanny, I think. So I would not mind playing under him if I had a choice because he's still very, very young. He's very, very cool. Seems like I think the players respect him. They want to play for him. Not to say that others don't, but I think like I said, he has his own pedigree. He played under Ancelotti, I believe, at Real Madrid. So he may have learned some tools with him, and kind of is like his own disciple of Ancelotti. Um, I think Pep is more of a disciplinarian, which is fine, I guess, and Klopp is more has more, I guess, a he was he was once an Alonso. So I think all of them and Flick, I don't know that much about, but I think if I had a choice, it would be Alonso for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, like I said, I kind of, I don't know. If you're saying Pep and Alonso are the same, then Ancelotti would be mine. But yeah, no, like I said, as you said, don't know much about Flick, but I do know the other managers. Um, Alonso, we'll see how he does this. Going undefeated, we'll see how they, this year or two out, the next year after that happens. But for me, yeah, I guess I don't know. I felt like Ancelotti would be cool to play under. Um, yeah, Pep. I guess yes, he's creating football that's kind of like some people would say is boring but wins. Ancelotti, I think, they have a little bit more freedom,
Hmm.
and Klopp will just do the best with what he's got. Doesn't always have the best players in all positions, but it gets the best out of them. So you're gonna improve when you play under him. So yeah, yeah. Like I said, Alonso and Flick is still young for me.
Hmm.
So yes. So we're talking about. So we're going through the game. I don't know how you felt, but like for me, it's weird because I watched the game, but there's only certain parts I remember. I don't remember much on Martin Odegaard how he did or Jorginho did in that as far as the midfield goes. I can't. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Doesn't stick out.
um, to me, it seemed like Udegaard had a better. I guess he had a better second half against Bournemouth than he did against Manchester United. Granted, that game, Gary, I think was kind of rough and tumble a little bit there. I think the referees were not the best. I know that Hoyland, is that his name? Rasmus Hoyland?
Orlin, yeah, yeah.
And what's his name? The new signing that Manchester United got, the defender, they both got hurt. So, and then I remember one play that I think it was Casemiro tried, he I guess Udegaard and him were going for the ball, and I think Casemiro kind of pushed him away, and that kind of hurt Udegaard's shoulder a little bit. And he was an awkward fall, but still the game was pretty rough on both sides, like it was I believe last year. So these games, these rivalries still stick with the fans, and they still stick overseas even though it's preseason. Um, so Udegaard, he had an okay game, I guess. But again, I don't think he wanted to push it too far where he could possibly get hurt even more. Or if he did get hurt, there's always suspicions there. And I didn't see much of Jorginho. I didn't see the game because I was watching watch along. But from what I saw Jorginho, he seemed ready to go. Again, that game was like an MLS game to me because they're everywhere. There was a lot of movement and uh, a lot of cluster.
Yeah, MLS game in the sense that it's a preseason, so the quality is not good. MLS is that's just the quality is just not good. Doesn't matter if it's
Yeah.
preseason or not. But yes, yeah, yeah. Like I said, that midfield outside of Nweri, who had a really good play when he with the assist. What I thought was funny is they were talking about the build up to that assist, and a lot of the talk was on Zinchenko and Trossard, and where he actually made the damn pass, right, for the goal. And it was like it was some good hold up play by by Zinchenko and Trossard, I think it was. But in
Mhm.
reality, but in where he does put the ball in there, and Jesus is able to slot it home. So yeah, and where he did really well there. The back line I think was solid. I think Benjamin White, Timber, for me, solid. Not much came up that side. Of course, they picked on the weaker side. They wanted to side with our two academy players in Zinchenko. I think so if you're gonna pick on a side, that's probably the side to pick on, and they did, and then they got the benefits of it. On that front line for me, Trossard, I believe he might have missed an opportunity, but Reese Nelson has been playing well. That's the thing.
Mhm.
Preseason, Reese Nelson looks good. Is he gonna get to play? Maybe they just put him in the shop window because I feel like no matter how good he plays, he's never gonna get to play. So maybe that's a shop window type thing, and other teams will see that and go, you know what? Maybe we'll let him. We will uh, let him go. Same way as we'll get into that as well. Milsroof Row is essentially not officially gone, but it's near a net. He's left the team for sure. He left the team to go back to London to get his paperwork sorted. So he'll be gone. I guess maybe this time tomorrow, probably. But yeah, like I said, that back line, that front line, to me, where we had our veterans, they looked good. Jesus still has a little bit of the yips when he gets the ball in certain positions, but yeah, it's a preseason, so I'm gonna temper some of my frustration. But I think this is the time when you're supposed to work on these things, and when you get put in those positions, you should put them away, preseason or not, because guess what? It gets few and far between when you get into the regular season. So yeah, yep. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, Gary, I think Reece Nelson has been playing really well lately. He's getting the ball deeper into the goal, and he assisted, I think, Vieira, or he had a pretty good bit of play to get Vieira involved in that goal against Bournemouth. Um, and he played very well against Manchester United whenever he got playing time. So, like you said, this would be an audition for whoever he gets loaned to. I think it's a loan deal. I think that's a rumor. For Leicester might want him. And I've heard also West Ham. So either way, I think these academy players. It's a shame it didn't work out with Nketiah, Bruce Nelson, and Russell Foe, but hopefully, Gary, that when they move on, they'll be more productive and have a chip on their shoulder to where they can play better. And it's always hard because I think some fans, they want to hold on to those players as much as they can. And reality is, I've had found out that in order for Arsenal to get better or be on different levels, they have to get rid of these fringe players because they haven't made a difference for us, unfortunately. You've seen glimpses, but again, that hasn't been constant for them. I remember they were very high. They were really, really, very, very highly when they came out of how it ends, and unfortunately, like I said, it hadn't worked out for them due to injury or not being constant enough. Um, but they do leave. I wish them the best.
Yes. Yep. I've been thinking they've needed to go already since last season, since last window. So for me, it's been time. Yeah, and I think Arsenal's. I don't know if they've been slow or they've or teams just haven't been looking to purchase players. But now it sounds to pick up. So Nelson goes. Sounds like Nketiah is also maybe on the way out, right? Marseille looks like they want him. I'd rather, I guess, obligations are fine if there's a loan. Otherwise, nah, they need to sell. Yeah, getting business done already. I get this. We want more business to be done, but just look at a lot of the teams. Like even if you look at the teams that have done a lot of work, Have they done any of the players that they brought in? You know, do they move the needle for us? Not for us, anyways. No. Calafiori took as long as it needed to take. He's there now. He's so. I think part of that was vacation. Part of that was Bologna and Basel. And I
Gotcha.
think I saw similar situation in the Mikel Moreno deal. They also have a sell-on clause that they want to change, and I think they may have gotten their approval on that from from the previous seller of the player. So they put these contracts in and they don't like them and they want to change them. You know, makes you wonder like what is Arsenal doing? Like if these teams can say it doesn't matter if we wrote it down and we signed it, we want to do something different now because it doesn't benefit us anymore. So
Yeah, who's a player that Arsenal also wanted from Real Sociedad, but he was not they're not interested in him anymore. So I think it's over to Z. I think.
oh, Zubamendi, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. What happened? What happened with that? Did Arteta just want Marino instead, or
I think he can go either one, right? So
yeah,
I think pick your, pick not necessarily pick your poison, but Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and I don't think you can go
mhm,
wrong with either one. I think Mikel Moreno fits a little bit more of what we want to do. Is closer to, I believe, if I'm thinking correctly, is closer to a Partey-like player than Zubamendi is. So, but I think both of them would be beneficial to our team. And there was some talk here, and we'll get into this because I think there was a comment here about Sanchez. You think you brought him up? Yeah, Sanchez
yeah,
would love playing with the way that we play right now because we get so much time on the ball. When he gets the ball in space in those spaces that our strikers get the ball in, he would enjoy that because he would like, okay, easy goal. You know what I mean? He's looking to score every time he touches the ball, and he would have lots of fun with that. So yeah. On top of that, you got Rafina, who looks like he's also out there on the market available. My thing is when we wanted him and when he was playing at a certain level, he went to Barcelona. Now I don't know if that form still exists.
hmm
Like from what I've seen at Barcelona, it doesn't look anywhere near what he was doing at Leeds. So will you get that player back? You know, is it one of those things where it's like habits, where it's just the team dynamic is screwing up his performances? He needs to kind of get that stink off of him. You know, what do you think about Rafina?
you know, at Leeds, he was so good at Leeds that anyone was going to take him, right? But he chose to go to Barcelona, and that's where he wanted to go. I haven't really watched Barcelona, but he really hasn't lit the team on fire. Or so, to me, it's another risk, right? But Arteta has a knack for working with players that can get better, and so I don't know, Gary. I'm not too, I guess, I'm not in. I'm not in favor of of Rafinha coming in. I think we saw our Leeds, maybe yeah, but Barcelona, I don't know. I think he's a player that's stuck on just being on one team right now. I don't think he wants to come back to London. I don't know why, but I had that feeling that he wants to stay in Spain and maybe work harder there. But I think he has what four teammates from Brazil playing for Arsenal, so I could see that happening for that reason. Other than that, I don't favor him. I don't fancy him coming to Arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, if Arsenal does bring him in, and we know, then there's always a good reason for that. Because so far, anytime they bring in a player, they usually have a plan for them. So we'll see, we'll see. Uh, yeah, this could be our incomings. Our three big incomings: Calafiori, Marino, and Rafina. Yeah, yeah. I think Marino coming in would be good, and that also will give us plan of what we're going to do with Partey and Jorginho. If we're going to keep it, keep both of them around. I think Partey's the one player everybody thinks should go. But if you had Marino and Partey and Jorginho, then I think you have coverage for sure. So all right, here's a question from Steven. With Calafiori coming, do we think Timber is moved to back up center back? What happens with Kyrior? Do we sell him or do we sell Zinchenko? Well, Kyrior is easier to sell than Zinchenko. Zinchenko can do a job for a little bit, all right? And if Tomiyasu is still going to be, staying with the team, then you have, you essentially have your three left backs if you were to sell Kyrior. Kyrior, it sounds like there's a lot of teams that would take him. It's not necessarily, Zinchenko's just the one player we can't move. Nobody wants to, like, what is he? What are one of the benefits of having him on your squad? So yeah, no. So as far as that last part of your question, I'd rather sell Zinchenko, but I don't think that's going to happen. What do you think about at least the selling of left backs, Lonzo?
Gary, the good thing about it is like Tomiyasu can play right as well. I think I've made it known several times about my dislike for Zinchenko. And like his performance would say that he's not worthy of being. Arsenal may have had a hard time selling him because of the fact that he's not very good left back. There's also people saying that he could play good midfield next to Odegaard, but Arteta won't play him there. So we've all watched Arsenal play when Zinchenko is a left back, and he doesn't look the part to me. I think Kyrior had his moments his first 6 months at Arsenal, but I think once he got to playing and having the constant minutes due to injury, I think he was a brand new player for us playing left back. So by trade, he's a center back. I think I'd rather keep him than Zinchenko, but Kyrior he has more value to him. I think Timber would be a perfect deputy to Magalhaes and or Saliba, and he can even play him right back as well. So we're very lucky in the sense that we have multiple center backs that could play left or right back, and we have multiple players that can play center back as well. So we're very lucky in that aspect. But however, they need to be rotated if this doesn't work. And I'm sure Arteta has been a coach now where he realizes that, and he'll hope that he can have rotation whenever they need be.
For sure, and we don't need to play our players 90 minutes anymore. We've got more than enough answers at every position, like you said. Timber can play anywhere in the back line. Tomiyasu can play anywhere in the back line. Calafiori can play anywhere on the left. I mean, so you've got answers. And, Ben White can probably play as a center back if needed. So I think we've got answers pretty much across the entire back line. And Kyrior, we know, can play anywhere on the left. So answers all around if we don't make any changes. But if they need the money for another, if they need the money for Gyökeres, for example, and Kyrior is the way to do that, then I say go ahead and do it. So, but Timber for me, I mean, he's shown he can play left back. He's shown he can play center back. I believe he's a right back is one of the positions he's played the most. So we know Ben White's there. So, but I think we need to be able to, like you said, rotate. There needs to be rotation going on, especially for me. The sooner the better. So maybe he doesn't start on many of the games to start the season, but he should be able to come on and see some games out. That's what we're going to need. And the only way we're going to see games out is if we get, for me anyways, our scoring up. So yeah. Let's see what's last comment here from Steven. I'm not sure what to think about Rafinha. He could be great, but he could also struggle coming back with the pace and physicality of the Premier League. We could move to Kiwior to be our second center back. Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's the thing about where we are right now. We don't need to, but we can. And we should, because we need to rotate. Right? Players don't need to take certain positions, but they probably should because I think, necessarily, I guess you can say we were lucky last season, but we need to be able to rotate and not dwell on hope for luck in sense that your center back is going to play so many minutes. We need to be able to rotate them in and out the lineup, especially when the season gets busy.
Mm-hmm.
Busy. But, yeah.
Yeah, there were some times last year in the season, some Arsenal fans were saying, "Well, how come QBR's not starting over Tomiyasu?" And it seemed like it all ended in a mess, Gary, because for a reason happens, but I think QBR should have gotten more of a chance to end the season. I think Zinchenko had no business playing left back even to begin with. I think he should have been benched, or at least on the bench, and not starting as much as he had. Um, a little bit of Tomiyasu as well. He should have been playing right back to, I guess, give Ben White some rest as well. But Arteta is a strange character when it comes to favoring players over for game time. Kruger he had no business being on the bench when he was playing really really well. Granted, he had a hiccup there against Bayern Munich, where he didn't play his best. But it is what it is. I just hope that QBR. I just hope that Arteta values QBR's talent and just get rid of Zinchenko.
Well, it's the trust and confidence in the player that's required, and that's why we don't see those players late in the season. Right, late in the season, we needed to win out, and we did. Right, we needed to win out. So whatever Arteta was doing, he did it the right way because we got the wins, that we needed at the end, and he went with the players he trusted. And that's the thing. He's bringing in Calafiori. I expect Calafiori to be a player that he trusts and play him like he does all the other players late in seasons. When it's late in the season, at some point, you just go with the ones you trust, right? You just go with the players that you feel will get the job done. And we're not done, but this guy is done hiding from us. Spencer joins us.
Nobody reads their messages. It's all good. I'm glad to be here.
You didn't say you were going to be late.
Well, I asked who was going to be on, and nobody responded.
So wait a second. So what are you trying to say with that? One, I missed the question because I was working. But
That's
two,
okay.
what would have made you come on the show faster if I said Mr. Tom was joining us?
Well, Tom made it sound like he was supposed to run it, and he wasn't going to be here. So I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. So sorry, but I'm here.
Oh, you didn't think the show was gonna? I would have told you the show's not gonna happen.
It's all good. I just want to explain myself. That's it.
No, I don't like it because that you left. You basically said Mr. Tom doesn't show up. Then I'm feeling you're feeling a little.
I'm perfectly healthy, man. What are you talking about? I'm great. Don't wish that devil upon me. I feel great.
All right, now I don't want to jinx that.
No, I feel excellent.
Yeah. No, we've just been chatting about the game, chatting about incomings. Calafiori, Marino, Rafinha. Would you be okay with those incomings?
With who? So
Calafiori's already in. Marino's supposed to be the next one, and Rafinha seems to be on the radar.
Calafiori's got some wicked hair, so that's good. Who else? The other one, Marino. I can't pronounce it.
Mikel Marino. Yeah.
I haven't really watched him play that much. I'm sure he's good though.
If you watch Spain, then you saw him.
Yeah, I mean, okay,
You probably didn't notice it, which is probably fine because.
Well, that's always good, right? sometimes you don't want to notice the players, right? That's usually unless they're a scorer. And then is Rafinha the next one that's a rumor?
Yeah.
I'd like that. I want a winger to come in.
True.
I'd be good with those three. I'm interested to see who else is the outgoings. That's what I also want to know, because I was talking to my buddy Matt yesterday, and I was like, you can't just sell everybody, without replacements. So 34 is really good for Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
I would have liked 40, but hey, man, academy, graduate, you get, 34 million profit. It's unfortunate. It's very sad because I really loved him in the 21 season and what he did for the team and everything. But, injuries, availability, what do they say? You fall in love, but only fall in love with people that are available for you, right? So,
yeah.
But
yeah. No, I know what's crazy is as many as good players have come and gone from Arsenal, that ties for the record, right? In terms of sales, right? And his is on potential, and I think Iwobi's was based on actually what he was doing on the pitch, So at some point we're gonna get a happy medium where it's potential and what you're doing on the pitch, and maybe get a little bit more than something in the 30s. No, but I think Nketiah supposedly is going to be sold for more, hopefully.
yeah,
Marseille.
That would be, if we can get 35, 40 from him, I think that'd be a really good deal. And like I've told you in the past, man, only got a full one team to pay. You know what I mean? We don't have to buy into him. You just got to convince that one person to buy the asset.
True. Lonzo, you're selling Nketiah, all right, for 35 plus.
Oh, for sure, man. I think what kind of is upsetting as an Arsenal fan is that he had an audacity to pick the 14 shirt and also the wages he's on. It seems like he's just hanging out on a bench collecting that paycheck, right? And it's like, we need more players that will want to score because they can. And I think Kedia, he dances around too much, and he's just not willing to take that chance to become a star. And in my opinion, he has all the tools to become one. He just lacks something. And with his team, you would think that he'd be more motivated to do better, and he hasn't reached that potential yet. And maybe it's good for him to move along and be a better player, and it would be someone else's headache because he's got potential. It's just not with us.
Yep. I feel Nketiah, it looks comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not a good sign. He's comfortable, and that doesn't look like a player that's fighting for a spot. Yeah, he needs He needs a challenge. That's a legitimate one. Steven says he'll take 25 for Nketiah. Hey, that man he hit a hat trick. Come on.
Premier League scorer. No. And Eddie's a guy who could probably wait out till August 31st, whenever the transfer deadline. But he's going to get moved beforehand. But I just wouldn't take the first offer I get.
Well, it all depends on what your priorities are as a club.
Yeah, but you got to think. So the Ramsdale one's got to be the next wicket to fall, potentially, right? Or is that a loan move?
Who's up? Like there's a lot of people out there looking for goalkeepers. Ramsdale, his name is not coming up. Like if Chelsea's out there looking for a goalkeeper, Ramsdale isn't on the list.
I thought Carl Hein did pretty good on Saturday, if I'm at all honest.
He looked good in both games. He was, I think, like some people say, top player in the Bournemouth game, and in the second game he looked comfortable out there as well. He looked comfortable in the box as opposed to, and Nketiah comfortable in his playing style, but he looks not too. The situation's not too big for him.
The big thing was that distribution out the back when he with him in heaven. To play the high risk that playing out the back is, how comfortable he looked to playing out the back. I was very impressed with the young kids on Saturday. Very impressed. Granted, the moment you could say is the moment big, but playing in that stadium, it's a pretty big moment, I'd imagine. So, probably the biggest stadium some of those kids have ever played in. I know we know it's bigger than the Emirates, but
the stadium is, but the field isn't.
Right. Yeah. No, correct. The but the crowdedness and the playing in LA, it's a big moment. But some of those guys look very comfortable, and I think Tony's made a big deal about, who's Arteta going to trust from the youth squad. There's a couple I saw on Saturday that potentially have that future in them, right? He looked very comfortable with the ball. Nwari looks pretty good. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right.
Who?
Nwari?
Nwari,
yeah. He looks really good too. So
yeah,
I think there might be some youth talent there that might be tapped into that we might be seeing a couple future guys. I don't know where Patino is currently. I don't think he played at all, but I don't think he's on the tour.
He didn't make the trip, so
he's still injured. Yeah.
Oh, is he injured?
I thought he was. I thought it was like some sort of small injury. He couldn't get on there, but then again, there's another one. If he can't stay healthy, but
there's one kid was Salah. I think he did pretty good too.
Yeah, the 2 times I've seen him, he looks comfortable out there as well in the middle, playing up there. So yeah. Miles Lewis-Skelly looks really good as well. He can't play 90 minutes for us, but he can definitely play a half if needed. So I think that'd be nice to see. Nice to see if we can introduce some of these youngsters to the squad. So yeah. I think Kid is worth more than 25. He's always healthy. He's just not going to get play time with Arsenal, so he needs to go somewhere they're going to play him. So yeah, keeping Ramsdale for the Carabao or FA Cup matches. Yes and no. He should be. I would be disappointed in myself as if I'm Ramsdale if I'm not starting. He's a starting goalkeeper in the Premier League, right?
Correct. Only caveat I would say is if I was Ramsdale's agent, make sure the move is right to the right location. With all being said, he's probably on a decent wage, so we're not really worried about money. But as an agent, I'd be like, all right, let's make sure it's the right move, top 6 potential, maybe top 8 team. See if you can find somebody. And then I would push the move. You got to think from his perspective. He signed that contract. He's there. I wouldn't force a move until the right suitor came along. That suitor might be Germany. It might not be a Premier League team. Because he's thinking about where he stands as far as, England number 1, number 2, even though Pickford's probably got that on lock if we're true serum injected. But he's got to think about that, and maybe a move to Spain, France, Germany might be where he needs to end up going. But that's a tough decision because he's at that point in his career where this was probably the big move, and now he's lost that. Yep. And where's the next big move?
Yep.
But,
here's my thing, and this is Steven, I get it, they don't want him to leave, but if you're a player in this situation, do you want to stay? This will be the 2nd season in a row if you don't leave that you're second fiddle and not playing much football. All right? It's not good for your career. It's not good for your form. It's not good for your future. You need to be playing more football. He's once again, starting goalkeeper. He should be getting the opportunity to play starting football somewhere else if he's not with Arsenal. So
think about that asking price.
Yeah, the asking price, nobody's paying that for him. So
correct.
So they're basically going to just hurt his career. That's where when you said he needs to find the right spot and tell Arsenal that's where I want to go, because they seem to be catering to what the players want anyways, right? Nketiah didn't want. Sorry, not Nketiah, but Reese Nelson didn't want a particular team. Wanted to go. No, sorry, was it Lakonga? Didn't want to go to one team, picked another one, and they said, "All right, we'll let you go to loan there." Like there was a higher price on the table, and the player didn't want to go there. So Kiwior, same thing, right? Team wanted him, he didn't want to go there, and they're like, "Okay." But like for me, he should be a player that wants to, he needs to change that stigma of him basically saying I fall asleep at the wheel when I'm goalkeeping. You know what I mean?
Think about this though. Yeah, there's that stigma, but this actually is a good point here. The asking price is 50. That's the starting price. That doesn't mean we're going to actually get that. But if we come out and say we want 30, then we're going to get undercut even further. But here's the thing about Ramsdale that to also think about. Let's say someone's keeper gets hurt in, I don't know, August 22nd, second game of the year, ends up injured. Next thing you know, a team that was not in the market for a goalkeeper now is, and you have one they could potentially get not 50, but 40 million from.
But you have to have a backup yourself. That's why you can't just wait till the end.
Well, I mean, that's why I think the backup will come in sooner rather than later, unless you think Karl Hein can do it.
Yeah, I think Karl Hein needs to play football. For me, anyways, I think like you said, if he's only going to play maybe just Carabao and FA Cups, right? You need a senior goalkeeper to be able to do that.
Well, we brought in a young goalkeeper already, right?
No, senior. No,
I know. Didn't we bring an 18-year-old recently?
Yeah, Stepford. Yeah. He hasn't played yet, so he's not anywhere near being available for us, right? And
I'm just thinking of the pecking order now, right? Raya,
Hein is second, and then Stepford is next, but Stepford is alone. He's going out on loan, or at least he's going to play for the academy teams, right? So
that's why I think you could probably make it a loan deal for a veteran guy too, if you wanted to.
What? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't know who that target is. I say that, but I don't know who that target is. But if you're thinking about long term on this and trying to maximize the profit on Ramsdale, that might be the play.
Yep.
But I mean, it's crazy because I think about Man City with Ederson, whether he goes to Saudi or whatever, and your Ortega right there. I mean, that's probably the best goalkeeping situation in the league right now. Those two.
Yep.
Even Liverpool, Alisson's probably the second best keeper in the league. You could make an argument for Aston Villa with Martinez, but it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. I think that's, July 29th. I don't know how much desperation the move is on that, but we'll see how that goes.
Like for me, Ortega behind Edison is basically what we had with
Martinez and Leno,
with Emmy and Leno. Yeah. Except for Emmy was done sitting behind. Ortega seems to be okay because he could probably start somewhere the way he played. But he might think he also has a chance to stay and maybe become the number one goalkeeper. So that's the difference there. Alonzo, anything on the goalkeepers? Still there?
Yeah. So from what I've read and heard is that nobody wants to pay for Ramsdale, or at least not the asking price that Arteta want to sell him for. So, I don't know if it would be hard, or at least teams would be interested, or at least they're gonna have to cut down on the asking price for what they demand out of Ramsdale's transfer clause, whatever it is. So there's quite difficulty. There could be difficulties with Ramsdale moving on. So I think the best situation is go on loan and see what happens after that, because I'm sure there are teams that will be interested, it's just they can't afford it. So I think the best option for Ramsdale is to go on loan, and I think the other day I read Forrest will be in for him. But again, it depends on everything, how much he's going to demand a max wages, or how much they're willing to pay for him. But I think right now the reasonable thing to do is to go on loan. The other moves, I think that the kid from Ajax is just too young to be a backup. I think Hines is has potential to be number two, but I think also he's just too young right now. Um, but again, Raya, doing that business early on is pretty important. It seems like he is liked amongst his teammates, and Arteta favors him. So I wouldn't say we're set, but they're not. And I think, I would not be surprised if Ramsdale is going to come back, just because we lack, experience as a second string goalkeeper.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Yeah. That's why for me that £1 million for Bentley, is that really a lot? You know what I mean? Like, especially if you could maybe get Ramsdale sold sooner, because it's not, for me, like, the money you're saving on that million versus selling Ramsdale, it's not much. It's not you know, and you're getting close to your money back for your goalkeepers' expenditures if you sell them, right? You're not getting any profit, but at least you're getting back the money you paid. So, yeah.
So he's on a 4-year, $12 million deal, Ramsdale is, and it was, I'm looking at this, it was backloaded. So 3.2 the first couple of years, and then 6.2 to sit on the bench, and 6.2 this year to sit on the bench. So that's what, 120 a week, which is a hefty amount for a backup. But man, if someone goes down and gets injured, you have to feel really good about at least your backup options. So the other thing about that deal also, as I'm looking here, you're also looking at 2025 as a club option, and then he's an unrestricted free agent in 26 at 20. So basically 2 more years of club control, 2-ish.
Yeah, but you're talking about value. If you're looking at if like your starting value is 50 now, next year when you have just a year left, and the way we do our business, it doesn't even, for me.
Well, that's why. Well, Gary, that's why I like the club at least saying this right now with the 50 million, right? Even though we know it's not reality, why not?
He's a starting goalkeeper, and that's what they should cost. Yeah. I mean, Onana going for 60 sounds like a lot, but it's not for a starting goalkeeper at the level that he was, considered to be at.
I think, like you said earlier, what hurts Ramsdale was that interview about trying to stay focused. I think him being honest about that, even though that's probably reality, and he's probably not the only one that struggles from that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't talk about the skeleton that's in the closet. You just ignore it.
Yeah. There's everybody's doing it. I'm thinking it, but there's the actual saying it, which is another level of not, just shooting yourself in the foot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like if you go into a job and they say, "Can you type?" and you say yes, and then in the back of your mind is like, "Why I type, but it's at a snail pace," They don't really want to see you show them how to do that, right? Or talk about it. But you can do it. Yeah, I'll get the job done. That's the thing. So I kind of felt like, it's not like he wasn't getting the job done to some degree, right? So if there's things that you need to work on, and at that level, you don't say it. You just work on those things. You know what I mean? Like if you knew it's a problem, then you just work on your deficiencies, right? That's what the the players do, right? Like Saka, his left foot or his right foot wasn't as strong as it needed to be. So what did he do? He worked on it. Everybody knew it. He worked on it. Like that's the part. So it's the either common sense or the football brain that that hurt him more than the fact that he doesn't concentrate. Because I think that's probably as you said, something normal for people, right?
And that's the thing too. He's one of those guys that wears his heart on his sleeve, which, but that also leads him to kind of say things emotionally without thinking about the long-term effect of saying it, right? We've seen him on the podcast. It's one of the reasons why people like him, because he is genuine. There doesn't seem like any fakeness in him. But you need to learn of that business professional, keep it to myself mentality. And I think that'll help him out long term. He's 24. He's got a long way to go.
For sure. For real. All right. So that's the Ramsdale chatter. Anything else you got to say on the goalkeepers, Lonzo, before we get out of off that that topic?
Yeah, in a way, I kind of wish it would have worked out for Ramsdale at Arsenal because he has a good story behind him, and I think that you know you can make the argument that he helped Arsenal get promoted, get to Champions League football, and all that, and he seemed like he could have been a folk hero to a certain extent with his love for Arsenal and love for this club, and unfortunately, that can only get you so far, right? And I think he rubbed Arteta the wrong way when he made those comments and all that. And like Spencer said, Ramsdale is a very likable guy. Unfortunately, I think there's levels to what you can and can't say, and I think having his dad, Ramsdale's dad, speak about the club and all that, and it was just a mess. And but yeah, I hope if Ramsdale can, I guess, go on loan or go to other team or move on, it would benefit him. I think so he could make a name for himself somewhere else, and hopes that he could also be productive for England as well. But mistakes happen. I'm sure he regrets saying that and saying those things, but he's like a likable guy, and I wish things would have worked out differently for Ramsdale. But at the end of the day, he did his best to be a team player, as they say, and at some point, you got to move on. So I hope nothing but the best for him.
Yep. As I say, it's I'm happy. I'm okay with it being time to move on. I mean, I think this is as far as I'm concerned, Arteta's been ruthless. So yeah, it's time to go, as a famous one used to say. It's time to go, time to move on. And he should want that, and that's where and I think if a player doesn't have the mindset to move on, then it looks like what it does, right? Doesn't look like a player who wants to move on, like in Kedia and Nelson, and I guess to some degree maybe Milsrove probably did have that conversation with Arteta, saying, I do want to move on, right? Whereas Ramsdale, if he doesn't, I kind of feel like that's a bad move for him long term. Yeah, he'll play in the Carabao and FA Cup, but will he drop in the England race for number 2? Will he drop in the race to get a starting job? Yeah, as you said, injuries might play into that, but injuries are short term, right? Then he's got the pressure on him, so to perform, you know how that works.
I'm also not really I'm actually more surprised, the potential moves within the Premier League where you could potentially sell Ramsdale and get something from somebody, whether that's Tony or Elise or whatever. Elise, he went to Bayern Munich. Never mind.
Yeah.
But
Eze maybe.
You know what I mean? Like some sort of move where, okay, I'm not going to get 50, but give me 15 in this player.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's the teams that need a goalkeeper. The biggest one with the most money is Chelsea.
And the crazy thing about it is, do you want to help a direct rival?
You think, you sell them to Chelsea.
Oh, I know what I'm selling for.
You're selling them to Chelsea.
75 million.
No, but you're selling them. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. He's not helping us out, so it doesn't matter if you're helping somebody else out. Like when we bought Havertz, they probably weren't thinking, oh, he's going to help us out. Guess what? Coaching, situation, all worked in our favor, right? So I don't think you sell just because it's sometimes just to a rival. Like, one, it's going to help the player out, and two, you might get a little extra cash as well, which is what you need anyways, right? Like I don't. Do you see Ramsdale making a bigger difference to Chelsea than Havertz?
That's a tough one. I don't think Ramsdale would flourish at Chelsea, if I'm honest, because there's so much turmoil there. He strikes me as a guy that needs structure. And I know we can say 95% of footballers need structure, and Chelsea's just kind of the anomaly for that. But I think if Ramsdale went to Chelsea, I think his career would I mean, we're talking about potentially going to number 3 England. That's how bad I think it would turn out. I know I'm speculating heavy on that one, but the fact that Pochettino didn't make it a year there, even though I know how it was a rough whatever, I think they finished 7th in the league last year. It's not, for me, where Chelsea is, like, the culture of the club doesn't read the room properly. And you're 7th place right now for a reason. You moved on from Poch. Now you got the Leicester manager. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, that one's. I mean, I'll fleece Chelsea every day of the week if you let me. I'm okay with that. But for the love of Ramsdale, I just think that one would be, I think, almost disastrous. If I'm just thinking about
I hear you.
What we've seen. But again, 50, 60 million. Ramsdale going to get a big payday. You'll be all right. So
yeah.
I can't think of who else.
Yeah. No, for sure. No.
United's good.
But when you're selling a player, are you looking at all the negatives, Steven? You're not. You're selling them for all the positives. That's why you're selling them, right? You're selling if Ramsdale was selling them for all the positive. He's a good shot stopper, right? Does he lose concentration? Yeah, but you have to. That's things you just coach into a player, right? Nketiah, lack of effort. You got to coach. That's why he needs to get out of here.
Stadium stairs. That's it.
He needs to get out of here. He needs to have a reason to get up in the morning and go to work and do work. All right, it's as I said, too comfortable at Arsenal. Too comfortable. He got his number, got his salary, but
Eddie's guy.
He's not playing for it. He's not playing for it. He's not putting any effort that needs to be put in.
Hell, Eddie's the guy, for the change of scenery, could find himself back in the England discussion if the change of scenery is correct.
Yeah.
It's not the craziest thing to think that 4 or 5 years from now, if he goes to the right spot, which is probably out of country, go to France, just never know. So.
Yeah. Oh, we talked about that one. But yeah. Yep. We are hitting the 80-minute mark, so we're going to start thinking about checking out here. Anything, Alonso, you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm just curious to know, who Saka's who's in the big ties Saka, because there are rumors out there that we were in for Nico Williams and then Rafinha and then SA. So I'm just curious to know if Arteta would want to do that this window, or he has something else in mind to kind of give Saka a rest. I know we talked about Declan Rice having. I just hope that whenever the season starts, Saka and Rice don't get burned out, because they went to play for England in the Euros, and then they went pretty far in the tournament. So I hope that I hope they just get rested they need to overcome this season. So that's why I think having a guy like Marino coming in, as well as two, as well as Calafiori coming in to help give rest or start at least. So I wonder if Saka can get that rest with the player coming in, because you can't really stick with Reece Nelson anymore. You got to move on from him. So I wonder if he's need anyone in for a right wing.
Yeah. What you say on that, Spencer?
I've got a thought. I've got a little thought in my mind that might be a deadline deal day for someone like a Nico Williams. I know people don't like it when you say that because they would rather have him in now and integrated. But there's moves now with the Smith Rowe stuff, so money's freeing up. I'm talking to my buddy Matt about this yesterday, and it's like, dude, we need competition for Saka. This isn't just to find Saka's, backup. This is competition for him because he seems like a guy that thrives in the competition. Like you mentioned earlier, the left foot was struggling, got better at it, right? So, and we can't expect him with the increased Champions League, with the FA Cup, Carabao. We can't expect him to play 50 games. The only two players I think you can potentially expect to play 50 games is your two center backs and maybe your goalkeeper. Outside of that, dude, you need to have rotation on almost every position. And I don't know if Reece gets moved on at this window unless the opportunity is right. And you got to bring that replacement in my opinion. We know Reece isn't to the levels, but a Nico Williams would be nice. The Rafinha one, I know we mentioned earlier. That's a hard one to say. I don't know who else we're really linked to. I think that we kept hearing a rumor about a player from Germany. Remember once the Euros was popping off? Oh, there's a player from Germany. Did that kind of cool off? Was that maybe Sané? Like, it's interesting to see how this one turns out.
Yeah.
But we need some sort of competition for Saka. And competition, honestly, for Martinelli, too.
No, you have that. You got Trossard.
Right, I mean, Trossard can play the left wing. I view him as a forward, too, so as a striker with Havertz. Those two are my nines, if I'm all honest.
Good corrections are the 9, the striker.
Oh, is that happen? Did I miss something? You didn't say nothing? That would be nice. Ideally, if you could do that, if you give me Gyökeres and Havertz, and then we could have Trossard, Martinelli on one side, and Saka and find someone else. We need that rotation. You got Jesus that could potentially do the right wing position, but you're either going to bring in a striker or a winger. Those are the two.
True.
One of those two. In the left back position, that was a big thing I told Matt yesterday. I was like, dude, like, if Calafiori, I get it. My pronunciations are they're gonna laugh at me.
Calafiori, you said it right, I believe.
They're gonna laugh at me. If he ends up solidifying that left back position, we don't have that revolving door, then God bless it. I'll tell you what my buddy said to me yesterday. He said, don't be shocked if Timber moves up into the midfield.
Yeah, well, he can play anywhere, so yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Calafiori can move up as well, so we've got answers. We've got answers to multiple questions as far as back line, midfield.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. With these players, they're versatile, and they're good at what they do. Brownie joins us as we're about to head out of here. Brownie, welcome to the show.
Live from Australia, he is.
We are finishing up here. Spence, anything else you want to talk about before we head out of here?
I think we've covered it all. With the Wednesday's the game, right? So you haven't made a last ditch effort to head down to Philly, or are we?
Yeah, Wednesday. No, my work now.
I've got too many meetings at work the next 2 days to even think about even taking a day off, let alone going on a 2 or 3 day trip.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's difficult to do something like that. Like I have to take 2 days off just to make sure I can enjoy myself, because otherwise I'll just be driving after work, driving back after the game, which would be ridiculous because it's a late game. It's like midnight or something like that over here when it's done.
I'll tell you what my boy did for the MLS game last year. He works for a major retailer in the United States, and he's in the loss prevention field. So he made like stops on the way up. So, store visits. And he did a 1 day trip. I have no idea how he did it, but I couldn't imagine getting in a car 6 hours to Philly, go to the game, 6 hours back. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. No, that was not what I wanted to do either. So, yeah. So it wasn't gonna
That's
be.
what it's
It wasn't gonna
about.
be. It wasn't gonna be 6 hours, but it's just.
I think it's
Right.
about 6 hours for me, but
All right, Lonzo, say bye to the people as we get out of here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you, Spencer, and see you guys soon.
Cool. Spencer, what say you?
everybody enjoy the rest of your week. I'm sorry I was late. It is what it is. It just happens. But glad to be able to come here and talk for a little bit. Enjoy the game. This week if you get a chance to watch. I know it'll probably be late in the UK for some of those to watch it, but either way, the season's upon us. I think August 17th is the first game against Wolves at 9 a.m., which would be about 2 o'clock y'all's time. So yeah, the season's closely upon us. The grind will soon be here. Enjoy these dog days of summer where you can just kind of relax and make sure you are taking care of your family and doing the husband or wife responsibilities, whichever you do. And once the football season comes on, get ready to get unglued and get back into it and have some fun.
Yes, sir. All right, people. Thank you again for joining us. We'll be back next week. Arsenal will have played their last U.S. tour game, and hopefully they get another win. It'd be nice to just go out with essentially no losses. Liverpool will be, I don't know if they're ahead of us in terms of where they are, in terms of games played or not, but should be a good one. We'll probably have more starters in this one, right? Because if we might have more starters because Gabriel is back, right? Gabriel is back, and Martinelli is back, and who else am I missing? Havertz is back, so he might start. And then maybe that pushes Jesus out, right? Maybe that's how we see how this thing plays out. Be good to get Havertz in and get Jesus playing wherever we need him. So.
You know what I think the crazy thing is? I know we're getting ready to head out, but I'll say this much. I think from Arsenal's perspective, whether it's a striker or a winger, whatever the best deal for the best value comes available, I think it's the one they're going to pull the trigger on. Whether that's Yorkers, like you said, or Nico Williams, whoever. Yep. One of those two will probably be – one of those two positions will get filled in this window.
Yeah, well, the thing about Nico is it's more of a known quantity.
Yeah.
I think more than Gukras, even though he has played in England for a while. So I don't know. Maybe what they say, 2 dozens of one, 2 dozens of another kind of thing, and it might just work out. It might just be fine. He's used to English football, so we'll see. But everybody, thank you again for joining us. We'll be back. Full slate hopefully next week. We have everybody in the house, and I know you guys had wrestling this weekend, so it sounds like that might have been fun. But we'll be back, everybody. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you guys on the next one. But before that,
life is a journey. Don't waste your trip. There you go.
Yeah.